Does anybody else feel it in the air? You know, I've spent a lot of time in the lands in between in Elden Goat since I did my chapter reaction. And throughout all the different things that I've seen in the environment and all the enemies and incredible places I've discovered, there's always this one thing running through the veins. Pumping, yelling, gear, gear, new gear, potentially incoming. Now listen, I don't know, we might be looking into it a bit too much, but if it's not, which I'm really hoping it's not, and this is Luffy's last time using this Gear 4th, using Gear 4th in general, because he's about to try out what I believe he was talking about back at the end of chapter 1013 when he started laughing. Or was it? No, I think it was the beginning of 1014 where Kaido was laughing, talking about Gomu Gomu no what? Like, hold up, man. He tried to hit me with his thing. He was implying something there. I think we're about to see whatever Kaido was implying Luffy attempted back then. So this is going to be Luffy's last try. Is like, yo, you know what? This is it. G4 or nothing. Conquers coded attacks. He's going in like Sumo, as you saw this week. Beautiful Snake Man transformation. But after this, after he has expanded everything he can possibly do in Snake Man, Tank Man, Bounce Man, all of that, is Gear 5th next. Now, I've been blessed to have been a part of the other two legendary experiences post-time skip. On the old channel when chapter 783 dropped and we had that massive break, the theories of talking about what Gear 4th could be, it was absolutely insane. One of my favorite moments of being a part of the YouTube anime community. It was such a fun time, and I really miss those videos in particular back on the old channel. But when 784 came out, it like surpassed all of those expectations, and to this day, Gear 4th is still my favorite transformation. Even though Gear 2nd, of course, has the most nostalgia, and I even have a poster of it still on my wall, Gear 4th was just so awesome, man. And when we got Snake Man in the Carter Curry fight with chapter 894, and then 895 actually showcasing what it is, I think we're about to see the culmination of both of those. If Luffy is truly going Gear 5th, we're not seeing those words until 1043. I think 1043, because knowing how Oda's been doing the 3-chapter break structure, there is no way Luffy says Gear 5th and we don't go on break for at least 1 week. We might even go on break for 2. Because let me tell y'all something, when those words get stated, if there is a 5th gear, it is going to be out of this world, man. Because the theories, if it's anything like the original Gear 4th one was, this is going to be crazy. Especially since it's Kaido. So it's like, hold up, man. A new gear. What in all of Onigashima could it be? And it's like, hold up, man. What are we doing? What are we doing? So, with that being said, if we are heading into new gear territory, this is all hypothetical, of course. It could be, he's getting awakening here. It could be whatever it is. It could be, this is really all he's going to do. Gear 4th with Conqueror's Coded Attacks, I'd be perfectly fine with that. It's something I've been looking forward to from the very beginning. But if those final lines in the chapter are implying a new gear, then we are in for one of the most memorable experiences in our time of being One Piece fans. And that's saying something considering how many of those moments we've had in Wano. From the very beginning in chapter 909, that by itself was a memorable experience for me, both in the manga and the anime, individually. So I can't even imagine, on top of Roof Piece, on top of the Odin flashback, on top of Roger vs. Whitebeard, and Laugh Tale, and whenever the big three showed up again, and Luffy, when he initially dropped the elephant gun on Kaido, and the time stuff happening, And like on top of Yamato and going up in like swimwear and the all-star piece and all the craziness that has gone down in this arc, so many things on top of all of that. If you're telling me that we're also gonna get another opportunity to theorize when the numbers dropped and this man Luffy says Gear 5th, I want to be a part of that, man. I want to be a part of that. So, more so than, this is just me being, you know, biased towards this sort of thing, because this is why I love reading the series weekly. But, you know, it doesn't, for me, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool with it, like I said. But if we are heading down this route, then this is the stuff that I absolutely adore from being a fan of this series on a weekly basis. Because I want this for those individuals that have reached out to me and told me that they just recently caught up to the series. Like, I want y'all to be a part of what happens when the gear blank is dropped. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want this for everyone. I feel like this is the one thing all of us collectively could come together and just discuss the different possibilities, the different forms. I honestly wouldn't, this would probably be the first time in a long time that I would invite other YouTubers to come in and discuss it. You know what I mean? Like, it's been a long time since I've invited some of my boys to come discuss the series over on this channel. And of course, I'm going to other channels to talk about it. But here, I would reach out and I'd be like, yo, let's talk about Gear 5th. Let's talk about possibilities, theories. Because listen, this would be huge. This would be Luffy's final power-up coming up against Kaido. This is it. Emperor level, big goat with the coat, monkey D. Going up in like swimwear. Conquers coded attacks. He's already going in. If he goes in and brings out a new gear, on top of everything that's already happened, and we haven't even reached post-Wano yet? This arc's gonna have me going crazy. This arc is gonna have me going crazy, man. Like, I need it. And the more I've been thinking about it, the more I need it. The more I need it. So like I said before, I am perfectly fine. I am perfectly fine with no gear. I'm perfectly cool with it. We stay in Gear 4th. We see all the different attacks. It's been really cool seeing the different variations of attacks that he's done within the past couple of chapters using moves that we're already familiar with, but the upgraded version. You know, so this week we were able to see the Hydra and whatnot, right? So it's like we're seeing these upgraded abilities for things that we're already familiar with because of the Conqueror's coding. So if we continue to get some more of that, I'm all for it. I would love it. Really awesome stuff. But the possibility now being out there of this Gear 5th, which has always been there, but it's one of those things of like, it's what makes the weekly experience so special, man. Like, bro, this, like I said, doesn't have to be for the story, man. I just really want it so that all of us can be a part of it, dog. You know how awesome it's gonna be when all that stuff is popping off. Like, oh, man. And you already know, if it does happen, it's gonna happen on a break week. It's gonna happen on a break week. So, it's gonna be a beautiful time. Obviously, this week's chapter filled with a lot of great takeaways. I mean, the chapter started off with pudding. Automatic 50 out of 10 chapter. Momonosuke, this right here, honestly, is one of my favorite moments of internal conflict with Momonosuke. Momonosuke, from the very beginning of his character, the introduction to his character back in Punk Hazard, he's always been a conflicted character. But the fact that we got to see it in this way, the very idea that he brought this up to Yamato shows growth. And I loved it a lot. I really, really loved it because it shows that he's more like Odin than he thinks. It shows that he truly is putting everything down on the line to ensure that his people are good and putting the lives of his people over his own. and thinking that he is not good enough to be able to do these things. We know everything that Odin did without any of his people knowing. Momonosuke doesn't care if any of his people know what he's doing here. He just wants them to be good. And I really, really love that was brought up, especially in front of Yamato, who knows Odin so well thanks to his journal. And I also really like that we had the confirmation there's going to be no spoilers, because Odin ripped out the pages that include the stuff about the Will of D and the Void Century and the One Piece and all that stuff. Let that be for the end of the series, and more Void Century information as we head into post-Wano, which we have to get. And now with Big Mom's thing from last chapter, we could very well get a piece of the One Piece or something like that here in Wano/Onigashima. So we're gonna get something like that. But I want that to happen through the story, not through somebody else's journal. So I'm really happy that we got the confirmation. Now, everything's opening even more for whatever's gonna happen after this arc. Whether it be Yamato joining, Momonosuke joining, whoever it is, now they don't have those answers. No one has those answers. So it's like the doors have been opened. One of these individuals want to stay, the other one wants to leave. We're good. We're good. You know, we're Team Yamato out here, as much as I love Momonosuke. But super exciting stuff. And I love this moment from Momonosuke. And the deeper that we get into getting further into this internal conflict for him and seeing more from Momonosuke's just cowardly side coming out as he's trying to do something heroic, because it just makes you want to root for the guy. And so when he's, even now, when he's been turned into this adult, right, he's still struggling. Like you can't just become an adult and hope that all other things, you know, are washed away. Like, oh yeah, now I'm this and I can do whatever it is that I please. Like, no, if anything, the problem's gonna pile up even more. And that's something that Oda's showcasing here in Momonosuke, that even though, yes, he was transforming into an adult physically, he's still feeling the way that he does inside. It's like, yo, that's still the same. So he's dealing with these issues. But we've seen his clear growth as a character here, and that's something I really love, man. Following his journey for as long as all of us have, it's a great moment. And shout out to Raizo, of course, going into like swimwear. This preparations comment, I still don't know what they're talking about here. We talked about it a little bit after the stream on Friday, but this preparations, I still don't know what to think of this. It's gonna be something I'm going to assume to do with whatever Denjiro's happening. I remember somebody brought that up in the stream. I agree with that. Or it's going to have to do with the preparations for, like somebody else brought up in the stream, for the banquet. Because that is something that somebody would say. You know, the preparations need to be ready for the banquet, or for whatever, man. We'll see when that happens. I don't want to think about that one too much, because I feel like that's going to be one of those, we're going to be pleasantly surprised by one of those moments. So if somebody has a great theory for that, I'd love to hear it. But for me personally, I'll be surprised by that when the time comes. And then this Hiyori moment, fantastic. This felt so good, knowing their story, knowing that Hiyori had this inside for so many years, was finally able to say something to Orochi's face. And the whole highlighting of the Moon Princess thing with back to the Odin flashback, I love this, man. How could I possibly smile when I play it for you? Like, amazing stuff. The Izo and CP0 stuff. I received a few comments saying that potentially maybe this CP0 member really wasn't just watching the entire time, and they were both fighting Izo, which, shout out to Izo for putting up with 2 CP0 members. Not 1, 2 if that's the case. So, really nice stuff there. Absolutely love this entire thing. Maha, confirmed to be the name, of course, for this member of CP0. So, great stuff there. And then the biggest takeaway, which is the thing that, my goodness, bro. This chapter was just filled with so much. So this one is very interesting to me, because now, like I was saying in the reaction, I don't know if this is implying what we're going to get right now or if what we're going to get later. Because it's going to be one of two things. All right, because it doesn't end after here. This does not end. If this order comes from Instant Messenger Sama, this is just the beginning. So this could lead to something even greater down the line. Because let's just say this member of CP0, which it has to happen, my cousin Adrian, shout out to my cousin, he just recently hit me up, and he gave me this awesome scenario for the CP0 moment if he really does end up going to the roof. So he goes to the roof, and we get a similar situation to what happened with Momonosuke, Odin, and Kaido. Whenever the old lady was transformed as Momonosuke and then transformed back into the lady and distracted Odin. This member of CP0 could go up to the roof, potentially distract Luffy. Kaido sees that something like this is going to happen again, and this time he instead, rather than Luffy having to take him out, Kaido takes out the member of CP0 and is like, I'm not going to allow that to happen ever again. I will not feel such shame after. Do you know how, bro, that would be one of the great, that would be like when Carter Curry hit himself with a trident, except on the next level, because we know how that's probably buried itself into Kaido's psyche for so long, of like, if I wouldn't have been saved, then would I have lost to Odin? Or what would have happened if me and Odin actually would have continued that match? I'm sure Kaido, who respects strength so much and respected Odin so much, that he must feel those thoughts. And now with somebody like Luffy who's really pushing him like this, he's like, yo, I'm not going to allow this to happen again. So shout out to my cousin Adrian once again for bringing up that possibility, because I love that. If that is where we're heading, and that CP0 member goes up to the roof, and Kaido's just like, ba-bam! We ain't going through that again. Luffy, let's continue throwing hands. I guarantee you it's either going to be that, or we're getting another Conqueror's coded clash. CP0 member hits the floor because he can't hang. He can't hang, he can't hang. So it's going to be one of those in regards to that. But going back into the eliminate Straw Hat Luffy situation. Now, obviously, this chapter pretty much confirmed that the fruit that they were talking about in chapter 1037 was in fact the Gomu Gomu no Mi. Now, here's the thing. If this is a direct order from the Gorosei, this would mean that they probably got that order from Instant Messenger Sama. So if they got this order from Instant Messenger Sama, like I said, this is probably going to go beyond, because he's going to fail. This CP0 member is going to fail. So if he goes, gets wrecked, never reports back, what happens then? Because once everything is finished around the world, depending on how long Luffy's been knocked out, I mean, some of the Straws have gone through a lot. All of them have gone through a lot, honestly. So, at the very least, I know Luffy and Zoro are going to be knocked out for a minimum of like a week. You know what I mean? So, by the time they finish that and we have our banquet, a lot of time will have passed, considering what's happening around the world. So, when we finish all of that, we go back around the world and we see whether the newspaper comes in, somebody themselves, like a Shanks or whatever, shows up and has this conversation. Like, yo, this is what actually happened around the world while you were knocked out, whatever the case may be. Excuse me. On top of all the amazing stuff we're going to get there. The thing is, if the CP0 members, if the 5 elders, if Instant Messenger Sama have gotten to the point to where now they can expend more resources on one singular target, because the conflict on Wano has already ended, potentially having captured and or gotten defeated by members of the former warlords, former Shichibukai around the world. Whatever happened with Sabo, all that stuff potentially resolved. They've been able to call back their troops for now. So while all that is happening, they have at the very least some sort of expendable resource to go out and take out the main threat they need to take care of now, which is the goat with the coat. Now here's the thing. If that's the case, then I honestly think the pirate that Shanks was talking about was Luffy. If that's the case, if this is the route in which we're going, that this direct order from the 5 elders to eliminate Straw Hat Luffy is Oda letting us know this is what's going to take place after Wano, then I can almost guarantee that's the pirate that Shanks was talking about. And the reason for that is because now that was potentially Shanks' warning to the Gorosei. Whatever he was doing, he was looking out for Luffy. I can guarantee you that. But he was also trying to have a conversation with the Gorosei. I was always struggling with that type of individual. So he was genuinely had a feeling, already of course knowing about the Gomu Gomu no Mi, knowing what could happen here if Luffy does defeat Kaido. It's the Messenger Sama, if he knows about his existence, would know that if the Gomu Gomu no Mi were to awaken, this is what would come out. So Shanks, knowing all this information already, reaches out to the Gorosei. So here's the thing. Obviously, the Gorosei, they did not know in chapter 1037 about whether somebody had the fruit. So between 1037 and now, somebody told the Gorosei that Luffy has that fruit. So because they know now, somebody relayed that information to them, that did not come from Shanks. They probably connected the dots thanks to Instant Messenger Sama. So with that being said, after this arc, we are going to be heading into the big major saga. I mean, of course, we're going to finish the Four Emperors saga with whatever's happening with Shanks, Blackbeard, Big Mom, and all that stuff in Elbaf, or if assuming we're going there. But after that, it's straight up Revolutionary Army versus the Celestial Dragons, massive war for the One Piece, all of that big final saga. That's what we're heading towards. So, if now we're heading towards the major conflict, being that they want to directly eliminate Luffy and not let anybody know they're trying to do so, but they're still trying their hardest to get that man out of here and capture Robin, then the Straw Hats are going to be major targets. And the thing is that they're going to be emperors. Luffy's going to be an emperor. And in order to maintain balance, they're not going to be able to do anything. Because once they mess with Luffy, they're going to know that some are going to come after them. Because just imagine, they don't know that Luffy's has an alliance. So they go, they try to take him out, they try to do whatever. They're like, oh no, Luffy's by himself. We're all good. All right, we have nothing to worry about. And then the Alliance shows up. Or the Alliance does A, B, or C. And now they realize that if they mess with them, if they mess with the Straw Hats, they've got a deal, because I'm sure this is all going to come together at some point. They've got to mess with the people of Dressrosa, with the people of Alabasta, with the people of Fishman Island, all these territories that he has not, except for Fishman Island, proclaimed yet, but we know he is very allied with. And if the information that Walpole gave to Big News Morgans, that eventually reaches the newspaper potentially, is that Vivi was once a pirate, the Allies are coming. The Allies are coming through. And they're going to realize that this dude is an emperor with a lot of influence built throughout this entire journey. So it's going to be interesting how we handle that dynamic in terms of the world government, more specifically, the Celestial Dragons, the Gorosei, and this the Messenger Sama wanting to deal with someone like Luffy, who is very dangerous, has a fruit that connects back to their times, and they can't do anything about it openly because of the amount of influence the individual has. So it's like, yo, how would that play out? Because once word gets out that Kaido was defeated by this man, everyone's gonna be looking at Luffy different. He's gonna have like a triple bounty on his head, because he's gonna be Dragon's son, having already done everything that he has, taking out Kaido. Yo, this man's gonna have like a triple bounty boost. It's gonna be crazy. It's going to be crazy, and they're going to be after this man's head. We might have another God Valley. Realistically speaking, we could have another God. If they are very serious about this direct order to get rid of them, the world government themselves could show up at Elbaf, and Elbaf is the new God Valley. Realistically speaking, we could have a situation to where something happens. Because they want to eliminate Luffy, the Great Cleansing and all that stuff, they go and attempt to lure him into this place. They know, potentially, that this is the place where the Road Poneglyph is. They attempt to go invade, knowing that Mother Caramel was once a member of Cypherpole. So they obviously have connections over to Elbaf. So it's like, yo, if we have a situation to where they pull up to Elbaf too, and now it's a repeat of God Valley, except things are different now. They are here for a different reason. They're here for somebody else's head. So now we have two. Now it'll be different than this arc. Whereas in this arc, it was Big Mom and Kaido wanting Luffy's head. Now we're going to have Big Mom and the WG. and the Gorosei going after this man's head. And it's like, hold up. That's when Shanks is there with them. That's when Luffy and Shanks fight side by side. And whoever else is there to fend that off. That'll be known as the New God Valley incident. The Elbaf incident. That shows those are just theories. Those are just theories. But it's exciting. It's exciting. It's an exciting time to think about such things. Because it's like, yo, this stuff is crazy. We could be leading to something huge. We could legitimately be heading into something way beyond anything we could have imagined based on this. If this is strictly just an order for now, then it's for now. But if this is going to be something taking us into the next arc, if they are very serious about taking out Luffy, they're going to have to pull up. And they got to send their strongest dudes. So it's like they're either going to try to lure him out or they're going to show up themselves and take out the situation. Imagine that. Imagine the Gorosei are actually filthy. And one of them's just like, I'm tired of this. Nobody's getting anything done. I'm pulling up myself. And Shanks is like, I know who's about to put up. What's good, my dude? Let's go. Pull up. I don't care if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, all 5. If the 5 Gorosei could pull up all, and they could be nasty, man. They could all be the level of Admiral Yonko. I don't care. I honestly don't. Let all 5 of the Gorosei, let them get the biggest powerhouse possible. I don't care. Luffy and Shanks fighting together, you could bring anyone from any era, and they ain't beating Luffy and Shanks. I promise. What? From any era, bro. Prime Luffy and Prime Shanks? Let my dog Mihawk be there too? Oh, no, it's a wrap, bro. A triple threat? Big Mom? Nah, stop playing with me. Stop playing with me, man. Yo, Elbaf, if this is all build up for Elbaf, let's get it. Let's get it. I don't know, man. I don't know, but it's crazy. It's crazy that we'll just see. We'll just see where they take this. Because if we really are heading into, like I said, a situation in a scenario where this is going to be their top priority after this arc, knowing that they're going to want to take care of things as secretly as possible, it's like, well, dang. I don't know. It's going to be wild. It's going to be wild, man. Shout out to Zoro for being saved. Things we love to see. But let's talk about this Kaido flashback real quick, man. I feel like Kaido's flashback is incoming. Obviously, all of us believe that, but now that we actually got to see Big Mom's face here, it really does feel extremely plausible that this is imminent. Imminent. And whether it's activated in the way we've talked about the Afterthoughts with the Zunisha thing, or it's the flashback just happens. Regardless of what it is, this flashback is gonna... I didn't think I could be more excited for a flashback than what we got with the Odin flashback, considering it had Roger and Whitebeard and all that stuff. But by the flag nards, I feel like my excitement for the Kaido flashback is right there. It's right there for different reasons. Because I can't wait to see what caused Kaido to be the way that he is. But I also, now that we saw Big Mom like this, I can't wait to see Rocks, man. Like Rocks, how all of them got their start within the Rocks Pirates. The relationships, the character dynamics between all of them. Like the fact that Big Mom said he's a good for nothing, don't trust him. If something's bugging you, come tell me. It's like that's already showcasing the turmoil between the crew, at the very least the inability to trust one another, whether that was in a playful way or not. It's like I want to see some more of that. And shout out to Big Mom, man, looking A1. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to LINLIN. But I can't wait. I can't wait for the flashback. I already know once we actually get to the flashback, it's gonna be a ton of fun. Like it's gonna be a blast just to go through all of that and see how Kaido went from being the upstart, Luffy-like individual that wanted to change the world and turn the world upside down and with these massive dreams and aspirations to what he became. And I can't wait to see that transformation happen within his flashback, and also potentially meeting Yamato's mother, all the stuff with rocks, obviously exciting stuff, but I can't wait. I can't wait, especially in the way that he started weeping for Big Mom after this. Like, yo, man, you can tell he really genuinely cares about her. You know, that'll always be his homie and Big Mom. So I know I've seen a couple theories stating that Big Mom could potentially be Yamato's mother after this week's chapter. If that's the case, then I wish we would have gotten some sort of lines or some type of reaction from Big Mom within this arc whenever Yamato appears, when the conversation of Yamato is brought up, because we know how much Big Mom cares for her children. So the fact that if Yamato is Big Mom's child, then why doesn't she treat Yamato? Because she loves her kids, you know what I mean? Like, she really does. It's like, why wouldn't she have that same thing for Yamato? Why would Yamato still have been captured throughout all of these years? It's like, I don't know. So that's what kind of makes me think that it's not Big Mom's child. But if Yamato is Big Mom's child, then I guess we'll find out later on, right? But at this point, I don't think it is. Or I keep saying it. I don't think she is. I apologize. It. My goodness. Yeah, that's how you know the craziness here. And then, of course, finishing it off with the Hydra awesome maneuver here. And then, of course, the beautiful conversation about dreams. It's like, don't talk to me about your dreams. Like your dreams is what caused all of this. Like, I ain't trying to hear all this crap. Like, you know exactly what you did. Like, your dreams are the whole reason why Itama isn't able to eat. Your dreams are the reason why these people have continued to suffer for all this time. I don't want to hear about your dreams. I'm going to make everybody free. We're going to have this banquet. You're going down, and that's it. And you ain't going to stop me. So, absolutely love this chapter. Fantastic. I'm talking about a fantastic transitional chapter. So much so that I only intended to come on here for 8 minutes, and I've been recording for over 30. Just what One Piece does. Just what One Piece does. But I'm genuinely excited for what happens next, because Roof Piece obviously being something that all of us are super excited for, but with the Kaido flashback around the corner, the potential, constantly going back to the CP0 plot line and what they're up to, the objectives being changed. Finding out more about what this fruit is and the Gomu Gomu no Mi and all these hints that have been sprinkled throughout this arc. Looks like now we're finally about to start getting these answers. And so when we start finding out all this stuff, it's like, what is it? What in the flying flagnards is the Gomu Gomu no Mi? Is it an ancient weapon? Is it Uranus? Is it... I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. I don't know. So many different possibilities, and I would love to talk about them. I feel like I'm going to have to save that for a separate video, because there's so many different things that it can be that I feel like I'd be here for another half an hour. You know what I mean? So I feel like I'm going to wrap up the Afterthoughts here, and then hopefully at the beginning of next week, or at the beginning of this week, going in, I would love to talk about potential possibilities of what the Gomu Gomu no Mi is. Like, what it truly is, man. Because if we're heading into the fact that the Gomu Gomu no Mi is what they were talking about when it awakens to become something different, whatever it is, that its true name hidden in the annals of history, whatever it is, we're in for something wild, man. Like, it's like flagnards. This is what this series does to us, man. This is what this series does to us. But I will see y'all next time. I'm super excited for what's going to happen here. Let me know what y'all think about any of these possibilities. Anything's brought up in this video, your own thoughts on what's going to happen here in the next chapter. So, and on any possibilities, man, because right now that's really all that we have thanks to this chapter. It's just a whole bunch of different possibilities that could happen, and they're all equally exciting. So let me know what y'all think. Excited for potential Gear 5th, and to learn more about the Gomu Gomu no Mi, finally get some answers here, and of course the Kaido flashback, continue more Roof Piece. Nothing but greatness is incoming, man, and if we truly are heading for something extremely insane after this arc, where we kickstart the final saga, or heading into the final saga, with another God Valley-esque incident where the WG is attempting to real deal get rid of Luffy, and the same way I'm going to assume that they got rid of Rocks, because I've been thinking about this for so long in regards to the whole Rocks thing. I really do think not only was he genuinely a good dude, at the very least, what I mean by good dude is that, of course, he probably had his faults. He was probably more like Kid than Luffy, where he did literally everything, and more like Blackbeard, where he literally did anything to achieve his dream. But he was an ambitious individual who prioritized, like, potentially being free in the same way that Luffy does, and loved adventure and discovery and finding things out for himself, and wanted to be the king of the world because he just wanted to be free. And to him, that's what that meant, but we'll never know until we meet the guy. And it's like, that's aside from the whole possibility that Rocks is Im-sama, but to say Rocks really was killed, and he was taken out, and he was lured from the WG to be killed on that day because he was a threat, and he was an individual who could have disturbed whatever it is. The same thing's happening here, except, of course, in Rocks' own way, and they had to get rid of him on that day. So it's like, yo, if the WG were the ones to betray Rocks, or if they were the ones that did something really sly, or whatever it was, and Kaido saw that, that could also lead into the sense of betrayal, or because we know, we think back to Arlong Park in the earliest parts of like corruption within the world government, and how it was Arlong that did the betraying there to Nami, but we saw what Noizumi was doing. So it's like we could have something similar take place with the Celestial Dragons, Rocks, and all that, because Rocks, maybe he really wanted to do something special that day. Maybe he really was trying to free that country that day. And we're never gonna know. Well, I'm sorry, we're never gonna know, but we are going to know, but we don't know yet. So it's like, yo, who knows? But I'm excited. I'm excited because once we see that flashback, we're gonna get a better understanding as to what could potentially happen after that in regards to not only Kaido but also Luffy as well. If we're heading towards a scenario where Rocks really was like Luffy, really was like Roger, in that type of way. So I can't wait. I can't wait to learn more about the dude, see what he was all about, and to see if he was more like Blackbeard, more like Luffy, his own man, whatever it was that it was. Seeing Big Mom this week made me realize, like, yo, we're super close to the Rocks flashback as well. So cannot wait for more. I'll see y'all next time. Let's go.